$7 billion. 6 opening dates. 9 years late. Germany built an airport in its capital and couldn't figure out how to turn on the fire alarm. 150,000 construction defects. 1 building. The doors that were supposed to save lives in a fire opened when they should have closed, closed when they should have opened, and locked when they should have done neither. Berlin had a problem. 3 airports. Tegel in the west, built in 1948, expanded in the 1970s. Schönefeld in the east, a Soviet-era facility from 1946. Tempelhof in the center, opened in 1923, rebuilt under the Third Reich, famous for the Berlin airlift. All 3 aging, all 3 too small. After reunification in 1990, the city needed 1 modern hub, 1 terminal, 1 runway system, 1 airport to serve a reunified capital. In 1996, Berlin, the state of Brandenburg, and the federal government agreed. A new international airport south of Berlin, right next to Old Schönefeld. Capacity: 27 million passengers a year. 2 runways. A single terminal building designed to handle the full passenger flow of Germany's capital. The name? Berlin-Brandenburg International. Airport code BER. Original budget €2 billion. Planned opening 2011. The project had the backing of 3 levels of government. Flughafen Berlin-Brandenburg, GmbH, a state-owned company, would manage construction and operations. The architect, GMP, one of Germany's most respected firms. Gherkin, Marg and Partners. They designed the Hamburg Airport Terminal, the Leipzig Trade Fair, the Chinese National Museum in Beijing. The design for BER was clean, modern. A long, low terminal with a curving glass roof. No unnecessary complexity. A building that looked like it could be built. Workers broke ground in 2006. The site covered 1,470 hectares of flat Brandenburg countryside, sandy soil, glacial deposits left by ice sheets 10,000 years ago. Workers cleared pine forests and demolished old Soviet military structures still standing from the Cold War. Bulldozers leveled the terrain. Survey teams marked the grid. Workers drove 60,000 foundation piles into the soft ground. Each pile sunk to load-bearing depth through sand and clay. The terminal footprint stretched 715 meters long, longer than 6 football fields end to end. 360,000 square meters of usable space across 3 levels. Arrivals on the ground floor, departures on the upper level, shopping, lounges, and services in between. Workers poured 20,000 cubic meters of concrete for the main floor slab. Reinforcement steel tied in dense grids. The concrete cured under plastic sheeting. The check-in hall was the architectural centerpiece. A column-free span 40 meters wide. No pillars interrupting the sightlines. Workers welded steel trusses overhead. Each truss engineered to carry the roof load across the full 40 meters without intermediate support. The curved glass roof went up panel by panel, 30,000 square meters of glass. Workers bolted each pane into the steel framework with silicone seals and aluminum clips. From inside, the effect was a single flowing canopy of light. Cranes lifted boarding bridges into position at 16 gates. Workers laid 4,000 meters of the south runway, asphalt over gravel over compacted subgrade. The north runway stretched 3,600 meters. Workers installed 30 kilometers of taxiway, runway lighting, approach systems, ILS transmitters for Category 3 landings, capable of guiding aircraft down in near-zero visibility. By 2010, the terminal exterior was complete. Glass sealed, roof closed. Workers moved inside. Counters, escalators, conveyor belts for baggage handling, 80 check-in desks, boarding gates fitted with digital displays. The airport looked ready. It was not. Opening date, June 3, 2012. Airlines printed timetables. Lufthansa, Air Berlin, EasyJet, all listed BER departures. 30,000 guests received invitations to the opening ceremony. Moving trucks were booked to transfer operations from Tegel overnight. Workers installed the last wayfinding signs, gate numbers, arrows to baggage claim. The building was polished. The date was set. Then, on May 8, 2012, 25 days before opening, cancellation. Burr could not open. The fire safety system did not work. Here is what was supposed to happen. In a fire, smoke fills the terminal. Heat and smoke sensors detect it within seconds. The system activates automatically. Giant exhaust fans in the basement level engage and pull smoke downward, away from passengers at head height, venting it outside through underground channels. Simultaneously, 4,000 fire doors throughout the terminal execute a precise choreography. Doors close to seal corridors. Doors open to create escape routes. Doors lock to prevent re-entry into contaminated zones. The entire sequence is automated. Software reads the sensor data, identifies the fire location, and triggers the correct combination of doors and fans for that specific scenario. No human decision-making. Sensors, fans, doors, cables, software. Synchronized in real time. The engineering principle is proven. Smoke extraction through subfloor ventilation works in rail tunnels, underground stations, and airport terminals across Europe. Push clean air in from above, pull contaminated air out below. Passengers breathe at head height. Smoke sinks and exits. The Munich airport terminal uses a comparable system. It was built in 6 years. It works. Singapore Changi uses automated fire compartmentalization across multiple terminals. It works. The physics is straightforward. The implementation at Beer was not. Workers had installed the cables for the smoke extraction system. 97 kilometers of cable running through shafts, ceilings, and wall cavities. But the routing was wrong. Cables ran through the wrong shafts. Fire-rated walls, designed to contain flames for 90 minutes, had cable penetrations punched through them without fire-resistant sealing. The barrier that was supposed to stop fire had holes. The system, designed to protect passengers, had created pathways for flames and smoke to spread between compartments. Workers had followed the construction drawings. The drawings were wrong. The fire doors, 4,000 of them. Each door had a specific role in the emergency sequence: open, close, lock, unlock, hold, depending on the fire scenario. The software controlling them could not handle the combinatorial logic. A fire on level 2, East Wing, required a different door configuration than a fire on level 1, West Wing. Multiply that by every possible fire location, and the software needed to manage thousands of unique sequences. Workers tested the system. Doors opened when they should have closed. Doors closed when they should have opened. Doors that should have unlocked for evacuation locked instead. The choreography of 4,000 doors in a burning building failed in testing. And underneath it all, a deeper problem. The building had been modified more than 80 times during construction. An extra retail level added here. A VIP lounge moved there. Corridors rerouted. Walls shifted. Each modification changed the geometry of the spaces. Each geometric change altered how smoke would flow. The smoke extraction model, the mathematical simulation that determined fan speeds, duct sizes, and door sequences, was based on a building layout that no longer existed. The architects changed the building. The engineers updated the structural plans. Nobody updated the fire model to match. The cancellation triggered a full audit. TÜV inspectors went through the terminal room by room. They found not dozens of defects, not hundreds. 150,000 individual defects across the building. Cables in wrong positions. Sprinkler heads misaligned. Ventilation ducts disconnected. Emergency lighting circuits incomplete. Wiring errors in the thousands. Workers began tearing out systems they had installed 2 and 3 years earlier. Ceiling panels came down. Walls were opened up. The terminal that looked finished from the outside was gutted from the inside. New opening date, March 2013. Cancelled. October 2013. Cancelled. 2014. Cancelled. 2015. Cancelled. Each new target date brought new inspections. Each inspection found new problems. Workers fixed the fire doors and discovered the ventilation fan wiring was undersized. They rewired the fans and found the backup power generators couldn't supply enough current under full emergency load. One fix revealed the next failure. The building was a chain of interdependent systems, and none of them had been tested as a whole. Workers pulled out the entire 97 kilometers of smoke extraction cable and replaced it. New routes through new shafts. Fire-rated seals on every single wall penetration. The replacement alone took years. Workers removed the escalators. They were too short, designed for floor heights that had changed during construction. New, longer escalators installed. Workers ripped out the 80 check-in counters, specified in 2006, obsolete by 2015. Self-service kiosks and automated bag drops were now industry standard. New counters went in. The cost climbed steadily. €2 billion in 2006, €4.3 billion by 2012, €5.4 billion by 2015, €6.5 billion by 2017. Each year of delay added roughly €400 million. Interest on construction loans. Security guards patrolling an empty building 24 hours a day. Climate control running in a terminal with no passengers, heating in winter, cooling in summer, keeping humidity stable so materials didn't warp. Insurance on a structure that couldn't be used. Workers on site every day, fixing, replacing, testing. The meter never stopped running. Munich, same country, same regulations, same engineering tradition. Munich built Terminal 2 for €1.5 billion. Opened in 2003, on time, on budget. 25 million passengers a year, consistently ranked among Europe's best terminals. Architectural award winner, 6 years from groundbreaking to first flight. Berlin took 14 years from groundbreaking to opening, and the building was already too small. The management structure fractured under the pressure. 5 different airport CEOs between 2012 and 2017. Each CEO brought a new strategy, new contractors, new priorities. The supervisory board had 15 members, politicians from Berlin, Brandenburg, and the federal government. 3 different jurisdictions, 3 different sets of political pressures. Decisions moved through committee. A cable routing change required sign-off from multiple authorities. Approvals that should have taken days took months. The terminal was also shrinking in relative terms. Designed in 2006 for 27 million passengers a year. By 2019, Berlin's 3 airports handled 35.6 million. The building was not open yet, and it was already undersized by 8 million passengers. Workers began constructing Terminal 2, a satellite building adjacent to the main terminal. Additional gates, additional capacity, additional cost. Old Schönfeld, right next door, was designated Terminal 5, a patch to handle overflow from day 1. October 31, 2020. 9 years and 5 months after the original date. Bur opened. Lufthansa flight LH2020 touched down on the south runway. EasyJet flight EJU3110 landed simultaneously on the north runway. The terminal doors opened to passengers for the first time. Willy Brandt's name on the facade. Berlin-Brandenburg Airport, Willy Brandt. The timing could not have been worse. COVID-19 had collapsed global air travel by 60%. In November 2020, Bur's first full month of operation, the airport handled 487,000 passengers. For context, Tegel alone handled 1.8 million in November 2019. The brand-new terminal stood mostly empty, shops closed, restaurants shuttered, gates dark. Workers had spent 9 years getting the building ready. The passengers were gone. Tegel closed 8 days later, November 8, 2020. The airport that served West Berlin for 46 years went dark. The last flight, Air France to Paris, departed at 3 p.m. Workers sealed the boarding bridges. The hexagonal terminal, an icon of Cold War pragmatism, fell silent. Tempelhof had already closed in 2008. It is now a public park. Berliners fly kites on the old runway. The final cost of BER, approximately 6.5 to 7 billion euros, depending on accounting methodology, 3.5 times the original budget. Flughafen Berlin-Brandenburg, GmbH, carried 3.4 billion euros in debt when the doors opened. The company has never recorded a profit. By 2023, passenger numbers recovered to 23.5 million, still below the 27 million design capacity, still below what Berlin's airports handled combined before BER existed. Terminal 2 remains only partially operational. The original building, the one that took 14 years to construct, was gutted and rebuilt from the inside, had 150,000 defects found and fixed, and cost 3 times its budget. Now processes passengers without incident. The fire doors work. The smoke extraction system runs as designed. The 97 kilometers of cable sit in the correct shafts. Workers maintain the building every day. They clean the 30,000 square meters of glass. They test the systems that took a decade to make functional. The terminal stretches 715 meters, the same length it was in 2006 when the first drawings were finalized. The runways carry aircraft. The boarding bridges extend. Passengers walk through a building that 6 times was declared ready and 6 times was not. 7 billion euros, 14 years of construction, 6 cancelled openings, 150,000 defects, 97 kilometers of cable ripped out and replaced, 1 fire safety system that couldn't protect an empty building. And when it finally opened, the world had stopped flying. Subscribe for more engineering stories.